Sure, abuti onahle.
Thank you very much, our chairperson. Principal, I'm gonna ask you please because the slides that we have, some of the slides went there and we haven't received the one that should be updated. So I didn't see anything on transformation on the version that we have. So towards the end of my session, I'm gonna come back to you, and if you can just, if you don't have it with you, prepare to just let us understand the racial breakdown of the staff complement here at the institution. I'm going to start with Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel, what race are you?
That's why the mic's not working. I am African. In my
Can we get the mic to work, please? This is a very important response.
I would say I am an African. I am a South African on top of it. My generation is from Indian, Khoi, and Shangaan, which makes me an African and a South African truly. So I regard myself as an African before anything else. But due to classification within this country, I was classified as colored.
So you are a colored African.
Thank you.
In terms of your position as a chairperson of the council, when you advise the institution around, and when you provide oversight around transformation, and you understand the employment equity provisions, etc., do you consider, like you consider yourself as a colored African, in terms of the legal framework, do you approach employment equity in that same way, where you consider coloreds, whites, and Indians as African in particular?
Yes, indeed. I would go one step further and even say to you that there are more Africans, some our Afrikaner population, and I highlighted, who are born in South Africa, who speak a vernacular better than I do. So I think it is a very complicated answer, Honorable Sauls, to say who is African and what is an African. But I do consider that. And in our qualification, in our employment equity mix, you would notice that we're striving towards having a representative population of the country as employees of the college. I'm not going to say we've reached it yet, but we are striving, and when we do our targets, our target instance is to get an Indian person on college, along one of the staff that in that.
Yo, the mic, sir. Must I pause, chairperson?
Let me just complete that and saying that the geographical area in which we find ourselves also dictates what our equity is. You would notice that the Maluti or Pufong area has very few Indians living in it. So you would not be able to employ or to have any Indian student in our college. Thank you, sir.
But given your speech, you said that you seek to, or you strive to bring about equity comparable with what the country needs and what the area needs. And you've just zoomed into the needs of the area. But what the country needs should take priority, I would say. Would you, in your, do this, ensure that there is, in terms of transformation, a balance at our institutions of all races, given the fact that you said you can, that you consider that you, no, but then when I ask a question, then there's going to be a delay in. Okay. Uh, would you say that in terms of transformation as you see it, is the equity balance at the school comparable to what the country needs?
No. Our transformation, that's why we have these targets. It is not comparable to what the country needs, and we are moving and we're targeting certain race groups, historically speaking race groups, to come to this area, but we're finding it very difficult.
Okay. Now, I must say, you're a very highly decorated professional within the higher education sector. You have achieved many things, and I want to let you know, as a fellow colored African, that I'm extremely proud. And you have done extremely well. And as a member of this oversight committee, I also want you to understand that our approach as oversight is not investigative. It is more of accountability. So when we probe, like what my colleagues have done, it's more for accountability rather than you are investigators. So I am genuinely saying that I'm very proud and I commend you. What qualities would you say a chairperson of the council should have?
Honorable Sauls, it is something that we battle with, that the moment we assume the responsibility of council members, we tend to lean towards management. In other words, we become Tiche Mkulu. We think we are the principals of the principal. Yet, leadership is not being managers. Our primary role as councillors is an oversight function, is a stewardship function. When I mean stewardship, when you get onto a boat and you're rowing it, there are people who row it. Those are the managers and the workers. The captain gives direction where the ship has to go to, and that's the role of council. And that's my advice to council members in the main. You are stewards, you are not the workers.
And in terms of qualities?
So your qualities are knowledge of the sector in which you operate, something we fail quite a bit. Because we were at school, we think we understand education. Because we sat in a class, we've been exposed, we think we understand pedagogy. You need to understand pedagogy. You need to understand training. You need to understand development. So that's the first question. Second is about having, I think very clearly, and I take the strategic intent number 3, an ethical and an honorable state.
Say that again.
An ethical. So you need to have ethics, and you need to be beyond reproach.
You need to have certain ethics and you need to be beyond reproach. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of from an accountability perspective, we can't ignore the fact that there are the National Prosecuting Authority, there are allegations of that you have been awarded a tender of 3.6 million and that there has been allegations of you giving kickbacks to university staff to the value of 1.6 million. Now, we appreciate the fact that my colleagues before has dealt with the legal side of that. It is sub judice, so I don't expect you to go into the merits of the case and so on. You are only guilty, you are innocent until you are proven guilty. But as a committee, we are also emphasizing, just as you mentioned now, the element of ethics within leadership. So without delving into the legalities of things, just on the element of ethics, as you've described it, should the committee view you based on these allegations, that I must put for the record again, you are not yet proven guilty of such, but the clout is there. Should the committee view you as the type of person with the type of qualities that you have just described? And if yes, why?
Honorable Sauls, once again, I appreciate you saying that it is sub judice. And just to say to you, and I can say this publicly, I've never been of 3.6 million. That's a tender. And it's not Raymond Patel who was awarded a tender. It's Torapa, a company of which I was part of. Secondly, it was amounts, it was a cumulative amount over a 3-year period that amounted to 3.6 million. So a tender, if one looks at the finance regulations, what amounts to a tender? It's over R1 million. We've never been awarded ever an amount of over R1 million. So I'm just saying that for the record.
Just quickly, what would you, if it's not a tender, technically speaking,
These were 3 quotations which we were given.
that comes out to 3.6 million?
Yes.
All right, fine.
Yes. So I'm going to stop there because, as I said, the matter sub judice, it's being dealt with by my attorneys
Yes,
with the
that's-
National Prosecutor's.
Doc, just
Then
quickly.
I'm going to go to your next point.
Just quickly. I want you to approach it again, not as probing in an investigative type of way. But you must understand that the committee's function is oversight with a focus on accountability. And so I phrased the question differently because I didn't want to go into the technicalities, but rather into the leadership quality that we as a committee are responsible for. And so you have emphasized someone that should be ethical and beyond reproach. And so I want the committee to walk away here with an understanding of how would you want the committee and others to view you? Should you be viewed with the clout? Should you be viewed as that kind of leader that you have described, and why?
I think my record speaks for itself. I'm sorry that the 2 honorable members, or the honorable member who asked me how long I was the CEO. I've been a CEO for a period of 18 years. Prior to that, I worked for education. During my period as CEO, I have contributed immensely to education, to training in particular in the TVET sector, and to, I can proudly say, I brought world skills to South Africa. That's now become quite an event. Exposing our talent abroad. I have an immense knowledge and understanding of education and training. I've served education throughout my 40 years as a professional. I'm 65 now, and want to say that with the knowledge that I have, I believe that I can still contribute, and I still contribute towards the transformation of education in this country. I would like to be judged that way, not on my past, but what my current contribution is. My current contribution to this college, which is not very rewarding, as you do know, has stabilized the way we dealt with a college without a principal for 4.5 years. We have stabilized labor unrest. We have stabilized student participation. And that is my contribution. I don't know the honorable member who mentioned this, but sometimes we become very sensational in this country when something happens. And we then want to judge according to that. If I need to step away to protect the integrity of the college, I shall do so. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Doctor. And I allowed you to speak from your heart. And I want to say that I would want, yeah,
No, it's
65.
not-
He's 65.
Yeah.
No,
No, it's-
65.
It's only a
no,
cramp coming.
65. Yeah. So, Doc, look, may the law take its course, whatever the outcome there is. But I want to say to you again that as a colored man, classified, because actually a bushman, it's very rare that we see the caliber of and astuteness of leadership in our race. And so I'm very proud. And whatever the outcome of the legal matter is, all the best with that. But thank you for your contribution, and please continue to do that. Continue to make us proud. And in terms of transformation, please ensure that in this country, black, white, Indian, and colored are seen as African. We are one in this country, and let's work together to build this country. I have 3 minutes left, less than. So, Principal, just quickly, a quick breakdown of what does it look like in terms of the equity breakdown of the staff complement here, in terms of race, just race, the totals.
Yeah, can I request the DP to...
No problem.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The breakdown, we have a total of 181 African male. We unfortunately do not have any coloreds. We also do not have any Indians. We also have only one white male. And female, we have a total of 185 African female. Sorry, a total of 225 African female. And then we have no coloreds, still no Indians. We have a total of 20 white female. Thank you, Honorable Member.
So sorry, what is the total? Total, male including female. How many coloreds? Male and female.
Okay, we don't have any coloreds.
How many Indian?
We don't have any Indians.
How many white?
We only have 21 whites, and then the rest of the employees are black staff members. The total staff complement is 428, as indicated in the presentation of the principal. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's just a pity now, Principal, that the chairperson, I think the age is calling for other needs too. But as I close, do you appreciate the point that I'm making in terms of the reflection that we must have at our institutions, not just here, but in the country at large, that we should have representation of all Africans? And I'm hoping that that would be the view and the commitment of this institution, that the remaining 123 vacancies that you look at ensuring, can I get a commitment from the leadership that you will look at that transformation angle to include coloreds and Indians in this institution? Principal? Oh.
Yes, we are making that commitment. We have already begun, as we advertise, we do indicate a clause to say would give priority to this ethnicity or group of the applicants. Thank you.
Please say it, ma'am, as I close. Please say we will give preference to Coloureds and
Yeah, our
Indians.
adverts are saying we would give preference to Coloureds and Indians. As we speak now, if you look at gender, we have a majority of our staff members are female. So, but priorities, Coloureds and Indians, and then we look at the gender. Male will also get a.
Ma'am, do you know what we would call that when you achieve that? Do you know what we will call that where I come from? Ons gaan sê, goed is moet balance. Die goed is balance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Honourable
Chair. Thank
Member.
Okay. Chairperson of Council, Honorable Sauls believes in a motto called Ons Baizani. Yeah, so he's a person of second chances. His president is an example of second chances. So I think he just fell short of saying it. He'll say, you know, all the best, but if things don't go well, we'll give you a second chance. I think that's what he wanted to say. Honorable Zondo?
No. You see, Chairperson, indeed we are of second chances, but the law must take its course. Dr. Patel, for the record, if you are found guilty, like my president, you must go to jail, and then come back, we'll give you a second chance.
So, Honorable Zondo?
No, thanks, Chair. Maybe I will start on that note.
Maluti Apofo. That is where the Oversight Committee of the Higher Education is today. And our very own Honorable Ashley Sauls is there, also asking some other questions, as you've seen recent days that every day they are at a different institution, which started here in the Free State, in which I think they all started at the University of the Free State in the CUT area during this whole week. So yesterday was also two places here in Valcom, the Dossa and the Goldfields Tifert College, also the CET here in Valcom, where they acknowledge. So you also see that in this video, our honorable member Ashley Sauls begins to, maybe it's something that he noticed, I don't know, that the member is possibly colored, and then started to attack the jugular, mainly looking at the things like the fact that the transformation in the whole in the South African schools, colors, Indians, whites, and so forth. So looking at that, they're in Bethlehem. Bethlehem is a place where one would not expect to see Indians, because primarily it is a farm, and most farms here and around the Free State, it is where you will mostly just see the black community and also just the white community. Hardly even see colors in such areas, because primarily they're dominated by the blacks and bits of whites. But yeah, that is for the people who know the Free State and in the Bethlehem area, as it is more closer as to when you go to Lesotho, go to Qwaqwa. Those are all Sotho speaking areas. So it's very, very interesting also in some of the things that they have faced, which would be challenges of court cases and stuff, which the honorable member does go into. It's very, very important that he goes into everything, as these are all important questions, especially if you look at how a school has got, as they need to account for everything that they have been doing. But what is also most important is that he sees the good things that the principal has done and acknowledges them and commends them and tells him that we're proud of this that you've been trying to do, especially in trying to include whites and all other races in the institution, especially if you look at things like employment equity, where the inclusion of other races really needs to be taken seriously and not be excluded, because it's always fun when people say that we've been excluded, but then when they overwhelm a particular space and other people are not included, they seem to not even notice that part, and which is very, very important in what the honorable member Ashley Sauls is doing. So I really, really appreciate these efforts that he's doing in this regard and in pressing these questions. Looking at the qualities in leadership, this particular individual looks to be going in a way that he is very, very commended. More members commend him and his work. So it seems to be doing a very good job. And such good jobs really need to be commended, because there are a lot of people who are incompetent, like we get in politics. So when it comes to academic, people are more able to be held responsible. Hence, a lot of times you will not see incompetent people. So, which is also a good thing, what is happening. Also a good thing. Nothing wrong in people doing good jobs, especially the jobs that they do. We need to love and respect your work. And also looking at the member, I was just reassured that this is more of an accounting, but it's not a court case where you're going to be prosecuted, for example. So there's also a good thing that I understood that, but I don't know how you guys feel about this. I really find these interrogations very, very interesting, because a lot of time these people really need to answer, especially some of the things that they do. But if they're doing good work and they're being commended for it, that is also a very good thing. And I thank you, patriots. Please do continue to like, subscribe, and follow the page on a continuous basis. Thank you.
Sure, I would ownership.